Ita for telling my parents they only have one daughter and she's 6 feet in the ground. This all started when I was 12 years old and my younger sister was 10. Let's call her Abby. Well, Abby started to get sick and no one in the family knew what was going on. I started to be dropped off at my grandparents as they went to different doctors. I'm not going to go into her illness, but when the doctors figured it out, it was bad. So a lot of time was devoted to my sister. When I was 14 it got worse and I started to be left at my grandparents for longer amounts of time. It started with just staying the weekend and then maybe the whole week. I would bring it up and they told me that they have to focus on Abby. Soon I was staying there for months. By the time I was 16 I was basically living there full time. I would maybe see them every other month. If it texted them about the whole thing, the same response was always sent: we need to focus on Abby right now. I'm 19 now and Abby has passed away from her illness. Her funeral was 2 weeks ago and I attended through FaceTime. I got a call today from my parents and they wanted to meet up and be a family again. Told them that they abandoned one child for another. I am not their child anymore. That they only have one daughter and she is 6 feet under the ground now. I soon hung up. I've been getting texts calling me an ass and that I should understand that they needed to focus on Abby and to suck it up basically. So Ita. NTA. While having a seriously ill child is challenging and will often take priority, it doesn't give your parents license to simply send their other child away and stop parenting them. They abandoned you and now that your sister has passed away they want to rug sweep their behavior and play happy family. It's completely understandable that you do not want to have a relationship with them. Therapy may be beneficial for you to process losing your entire immediate family. They need to respect your boundaries. Sorry for your loss and good luck. They're treating her like a book they left on the nightstand. Now, 7 years later they want to pick it up and go, alright, where did I leave off? Can't do that with people. I know exactly what it is like to live with a child with a terminal illness while trying to balance the needs of a second child, and I am going to say NTA. My son passed in June after an almost 2-year battle with brain cancer. My story is a little different in that we knew it was terminal from the beginning, so we knew it would be a sprint instead of a marathon. Knowing that, we definitely let some things slide with my youngest with the idea that we would be able to make up for it later, but he was always with us. The only time our youngest stayed somewhere else was when we had long hospital stays, doctor's appointments, and then the day my oldest passed plus a day or two after that. Even when that was happening, if he spent the night somewhere else, either my husband or myself would go over every day and have dinner with him and play with him before he went to bed. Having a sick kid is really hard, but the thing that really makes them the ours is that you wouldn't hear from them for months. I don't understand that at all. We wanted everyone home as much as possible because we knew our time to be together as a family was limited. Can't imagine not seeing or talking to my youngest every day. He is literally the only reason I get out of bed at all anymore. NTA. As a parent who had a terminally ill child, I made sure that my other kids still knew that I loved them and even organized people to sit with my child in hospital while I spent quality time with my other kids. It's hard being a parent knowing that your child is going to die, but you don't ever push away your other kids. I'm so sorry that you were abandoned by your parents, and I'm sending you huge hugs and love right now. You have every right to be angry at them and don't let anyone else tell you otherwise, as none of them were in your shoes. Take time to grieve for your sister and your lost relationship, and most importantly, please be kind to yourself. You do matter. Edit. Thank you all for my awards. NTA. A terminally ill child is horrific for a parent to have to deal with, but it doesn't give them a free pass to abandon you. For them to expect you to be willing to go back to them now that it's convenient for them shows just how easily they dismiss how much they hurt you. You were harsh, absolutely, but they needed to hear it. I'm so sorry for both the loss of your sister and everything your family put you through. I hope you can find a way to heal. Ita. For banning my roommate's girlfriend after she kept insisting I was hitting on her. I, 24F, am a lesbian living with my good friend, 25M. I own the apartment, I'm renting out the extra room to him. A little over a month ago, he met a girl online, and they started dating. He is now at our place constantly. I'll be honest, I've never really liked her. She was incredibly standoffish and rude to me from the beginning. I eventually learned it was because she thought I had a thing for my roommate. Even after he told her I was gay, apparently her only argument was, she doesn't look gay. A few weeks ago, we were all drinking and hanging out at our place with a few close friends. I tried to mend fences by pulling the GF aside and telling her that I really am gay. I have no interest in stealing her boyfriend, and I hope we can be friends. She seemed to take this very well, and was overly friendly with me the whole rest of the night. I thought she was just trying to make up for being so cruel at first. The next day, my roommate asked if we could talk. He said his GF feels uncomfortable around me after I drunkenly hit on her. What? I was not even remotely close to being drunk. Also, I am negatively attracted to her. Like, way less than 0. I find her insanely annoying. I tried to explain that I was trying to be nice, as I knew she didn't particularly like me. I wanted to be civil if she was going to be around often. My roommate seemed skeptical, but he ultimately took my word for it and chalked it up to a miscommunication. Fast forward a week or so, the friend group is hanging out at our place again. The GF comes over, of course. I'm cordial to her, but I try to keep my distance so another miscommunication doesn't happen. Towards the end of the night, one of our other friends comes up to me like, dude, what is going on? GF keeps telling everyone you've been checking her out and hitting on her all night. Again, I was stunned. And at this point, incredibly pissed off. I went right up to the GF in front of everyone, and said, what the hell's going on? Why are you spewing lies about me hitting on you to all my friends? She just stared at me, unable to respond. I continued, just because I'm gay does not mean I'm into you. Trust me, I am not the least bit interested in you. She started sobbing that I was attacking her for no reason, calling her out, making her super uncomfortable again, etc. I told her to get the hell out, and that she was no longer welcome here for making me feel uncomfortable in my own apartment. Her and my roommate left. Needless to say, my roommate is super pissed at me. He hasn't been back to our place since, but I've gotten some angry texts. I'm standing my ground that she is not welcome here anymore, but he is free to stay or move out as he pleases. Most of our friends are on my side. I guess I could have been easier on her, but I am just so over it. Edit. Wow. I woke up to tons of notifications. Thanks everyone, and thanks for the awards. Edit 2. I guess I should have added that where I live, the mask/stay-at-home mandates have been lifted for a while. That being said, my friends and I still choose to wear masks, and be extremely careful. We do not go out to bars, even though they are fully open. I occasionally have a few close friends over, whom I trust to also be careful. No parties. I don't get how anyone landed on that. Hope this clears things up. NTA. Your gay so her tactic of I'm uncomfortable because she's hitting on my man doesn't work, so she had to change angle. She's massively insecure. She needs to get help. Not your problem though. NTA. The GF clearly has issues. Your roommate is also not a good friend. He should have put a stop to the GF's nonsense, and not allowed her to make you feel uncomfortable in your own home. You have every right to ban her from your home. Roommate should have completely believed her from the start as well. He shouldn't have been skeptical of his roommate and I'm guessing longtime friend over his very new girlfriend. Ita for not telling my family which of my children is biologically mine. I have 2 kids, Clark and Kent. While they have the same father, only one of them is biologically my child. They were born within 6 months of each other. The boys are currently 6, and for various reasons I have full custody of both of them. I didn't speak to anyone in my family for several years, and we got back in touch in 2019. Due to the boys' ages, my family know I couldn't have carried both, unless I have the gestation period of a hamster or the longest labor ever. I have explained to them how this all came to be, but in my explanation I neglected to tell them which was my biological child. Due to my ex having a type, the other woman looked enough like me that the boys could pass for twins. Same dark hair, blue eyes, pale skin, and both cleft chins and dimples. My brother jokes that they look like tiny supermen. People who know them refer to them as twins because aside from a few minor differences, they're practically identical. Frankly, if they were closer in age and I'd had full custody of both from the time they were born, I suspect I would have mixed them up a lot as babies. Shortly before Clark's birthday last year, my mum asked if she could see Clark's birth certificate. I asked why and she said she wanted to know the exact time he was born, so I told her. She asked if she could see the certificate anyway. I asked why. She said she just wanted to check. I said I'm his mother, I know when he was born. Then she asked the same thing about Kent and we went through the same conversation all over again. Mum eventually admitted that she just wanted to see the birth mother's name on each certificate, which isn't even how that works, and I told her as much. This led to an argument where my stance was that I'm their mother, biology is irrelevant. Mum says if biology is irrelevant then it's not a big deal to tell her which of them is biologically mine. I said if she's so hung up on biology, then clearly it's a big deal to her and I don't want it to be a big deal, especially as the boys themselves don't know. Mum feels this is incredibly selfish, narcissistic, and overall wrong. She feels that if biology isn't such a big issue, then I should have no problem telling her whether Clark or Kent is my biological son, and that accusing her of potential favoritism or something similar with her bio-grandchild is an unfair judgment with no actual reasoning to it. My boyfriend agrees that I shouldn't tell anyone, at least until my sons have decided for themselves if they want to know and want other people to know. But my entire family agree with Mum that I'm being unreasonably selfish and that my actions now are more likely to cause issues than Mum's potential actions later. Am I in the wrong? So NTA, you are Clark and Kent's great aliases, by the way. Mother, you love them equally. They are your sons and no matter the circumstances, you are an awesome mum, and who cares about biology? When to quote the great philosophers John, Paul, George and Ringo, all you need is love. You love your boys, and it's all they need. So tell your mum to mind her own business. My brother's Supermen comments really stuck with me. Unfortunately, it looks like they're Marvel fans, so you can't win them all lol. I completely agree with your view. The way I see it is that I'm their mother, they're my sons, we're a happy family, and the little details beyond that don't matter. I just don't know why Mum is so hung up on it. NTA, your mother is looking for her real grandchild. You're right not to set your kids up for that heartache. NTA, if she ever finds out, your mother will favor the biological grandchild, otherwise it wouldn't matter to her who was on the birth certificate. Agreed. I'd be cautious to ensure she doesn't take a swap to their mouth when Mom isn't looking. NTA, totally and completely. You know she's going to make a big deal out of it the way she has pestered you and getting the family to be her flying monkeys. I sincerely hope you have their birth certificates locked up tight in a safe or safety deposit box so she cannot say she accidentally came across it. Would she resort to contacting your ex? Would he tell her? If you are cordial with him, or at least if he's a little bit reasonable, would it be a good idea to give him a heads up that your mom is pushing hard to know which boy is yours biologically and you don't want her to know? Would she resort to contacting your ex? Would he tell her? If you are cordial with him, or at least if he's a little bit reasonable, would it be a good idea to give him a heads up that your mom is pushing hard to know which boy is yours biologically and you don't want her to know? We're not cordial and he's not reasonable, but he's completely uncontactable to my whole family including me. Truthfully, even if she could contact him, I doubt he'd even remember which son is biologically mine because he barely even knows their names and birthdays and hasn't seen them since they were both under a year old.